Hello, everybody. This is Jenny Z, coming to you from my home. We're going to be doing some mindfulness meditation today. And then Lindsay's going to come on next at 7 o'clock for some story time. So, this is a wonderful opportunity for us to just stop, pause, and come together as we spend time together in our homes virtually, mindfully breathing, mindfully sitting, and mindfully listening to the Dharma. Dharma just means teachings. So, we're going to start to practice tonight with some sitting meditation. This meditation style is in the style of Thich Nhat Hanh. This is the book Anger, and this is how you spell his name, Thich Nhat Hanh. And he is from Vietnam, and he has came up with a style of Buddhism called engaged Buddhism, which seeks to create mindfulness in the lives of lay people like you and me, lay practitioners, people that are not nuns or monks, so that we can bring mindfulness into every aspect of our life, whether it's washing the dishes, whether it's gardening, whether it's driving our car. Oh, and you can see my cat back there. Where is she? She's back there. That's the bee. She's already mindfully sitting. So Thich Nhat Hanh has come up with this style of mindfulness. And this is what he has to say about mindfulness. This is from his book, Mindfulness Survival Kit. And it's a really great book for beginners in this practice, and for just anybody really. Mindfulness is the awareness of what is going on in us and around us in the present moment. It requires stopping, looking deeply, and recognizing both the uniqueness of the moment and its connection to everything that has gone on before and will go on in the future. Mindfulness can help us survive and thrive, both as individuals and as human beings on this earth together. Mindfulness is a continual practice, a path that helps us to transform our suffering, and that brings happiness to ourselves and others. So I just thought I would read that as a little brief description as to what mindfulness is. So before we go into our sitting meditation, I just want to read this on breathing. I think it's really important to talk about breathing and how we mindfully breathe. Our breathing is stable, solid ground in which we can take refuge. Regardless of our internal weather, meaning how we feel, if we feel stormy inside or cloudy or clear with bright skies, that's what that means, internal weather. Our thoughts, emotions, and perceptions, our internal weather. Regardless of our internal weather, our breathing is always with us like a faithful friend. Whenever we feel carried away or sunk in a deep emotion or scattered in worries and projects, we return to our breathing to collect and anchor our mind. We feel the flow of air coming in and out of our nose. We feel how light and natural, how calm and peaceful our breathing functions. At any time, while we're walking, gardening, or typing, we can return to this peaceful source of life. We may like to recite, breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. We do not need to control our breath. Feel the breath as it actually is. May it be long or short, deep or shallow, with our awareness, it will naturally become slower and deeper. Conscious breathing is the key to uniting body and mind and bringing the energy of mindfulness into every moment of our life. So that's something I wanted to read about the breath, because we will be moving into our sitting meditation where we focus on the breath, and there is a guided portion to that. And before I talk about sitting meditation, I just want to talk about how this hour is going to go for our meditation practice. Usually, if we met in person, we would go around the circle and we'd give an internal weather report, which was referenced in this passage that I just read, about talking about what our internal weather report is. And that just means how we're feeling today. And it allows us to come into a truthful relationship with how we really are feeling. And it helps others to acknowledge how we're feeling too, and also how they're feeling. So it can be a way to be mindful about our thoughts and feelings and the sensations in our body too. So we would do that. We would have a 15 or 20-minute sit. And then we do something called walking meditation, which is something we are not going to be doing today. Although there are online meditation groups that do walking around their living room, believe it or not, but we're not going to be doing that today. Instead, we're going to follow the finger labyrinth. So if you were to just draw a spiral on a piece of paper and mindfully start at the center and let's see if I can do this backwards, and and just go around the circle nice and slow as if you were walking. That's one way to be mindful without even having to walk. Maybe some people are not able to walk. And so another way to be mindful and have a mindful movement is to walk on the spiral or the finger labyrinth. So that's something we are going to be doing in lieu of walking meditation tonight. And then we are going to be talking about chapter 5 of Thich Nhat Hanh's book, Anger. And then no Sangha would be complete without singing meditation. I mean, come on. If you come to our Sanghas, you know that we have to sing. So I just wanted to start with 2 poems that really speak to the kind of things that we're facing here in the world today. This first poem is called The Good News, and it's by Thich Nhat Hanh. The good news they do not print. The good news we do print. We have a special edition every moment, and we need you to read it. The good news is that you are alive, that the linden tree is still there, standing firm in the harsh winter. The good news is that you have wonderful eyes to touch the blue sky. The good news is that your child is there before you and your arms are available. Hugging is possible. They only print what is wrong. Look at each of our special editions. We always offer the things that are not wrong. We want you to benefit from them and help protect them. The dandelion is there by the sidewalk, smiling its wondrous smile, singing the song of eternity. Listen. You have ears that can hear it. Bow your head. Listen to it. Leave behind the world of sorrow, of preoccupation, and get free. The latest good news is that you can do it. And this other poem is called Kindness by Naomi Shihab Nigh. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment, like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride, thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak it. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore, only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to mail letters and purchase bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say it is you I have been looking for, and then goes with you everywhere like a shadow or a friend. And with that, the kindness idea is going to flow over to our book by Thich Nhat Hanh later, from the chapter, um, from chapter 5, because it's all about conscious communication and compassionate communication. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. So sitting meditation is like returning home to give full attention and care for ourselves. We sit upright with dignity and return to our breathing. We bring our full attention to what is within and around us, and we let our mind become spacious and our heart soft and kind. Like the peaceful image of the Buddha on the altar, we too can radiate peace and stability. The purpose of sitting meditation is to enjoy and to not try to attain anything. Sitting meditation is very healing. We realize we can just be with whatever is within us, our pain, our anger, our irritation, or our joy, love, and peace. We are with whatever is there without being carried away by it. Let it come, let it stay, and then let it go. No need to push, no need to oppress, no need to pretend our thoughts are not there. Observe the thoughts and images of our mind with an accepting and loving eye. We're free to be still and calm despite the storms that might arise in us. If we feel discomfort during sitting in our bodies, we are free to adjust our position quietly. We can maintain our concentration by following our breath and slowly and attentively change our posture. At the end of the sitting meditation session, allow a few minutes to massage your legs and feet before standing up again. And then it just talks about how in between sessions of sitting meditation, we practice slow walking meditation, which we won't be doing this evening, as I mentioned before. Yes, everybody is moving together slowly and mindfully like a river. We can feel in harmony with the larger body of the Sangha. Sangha just means mindfulness community. And that's if we were doing walking meditation. So get into a comfortable position, and maybe if your back is at the, I'm short, so I can't sit all the way back to the couch. So I kind of scoot up forward so that my posture is erect and I'm in a comfortable seated position. And I'm in a position that's in between restful and wakeful. So I'll invite this bell 3 times, and we'll start with a guided meditation. I'll then invite everybody to go into silent meditation, and that period of sitting meditation will be over when I invite the bell, and I will instruct all along the way. So just closing your eyes if that feels comfortable, and if it doesn't, then affix your gaze angled slightly down toward the floor and kind of dull your vision so that you have blurred vision and you're not really looking at anything in focus. And then just start to come into your breath. And just notice your breathing. My cat is coming to join us. Body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart out along with the sound of the bell. May all who hear it awaken from forgetfulness and transcend all anxiety and sorrow. Breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. In, out. Breathing in, I follow my in-breath from its very beginning to its very end. Breathing out, I follow my out-breath from its very beginning to its very end. In, out, beginning, end. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. Breathing in, there is only this present moment. Breathing out, it is a wonderful moment. In, out. Present moment, wonderful moment. So we'll go into a period of silent meditation now. And when that period of silent meditation is over, I will invite the bell. And just remember there's nowhere to go and nothing to do. And if thoughts, emotions, feelings, or body sensations arise, just noticing them, acknowledging them, and letting them flow away. Small bell for stretching and massage. So as we were um, talking before, it's a time in our time together to do some walking meditation. Um, what I've done here is I've drawn a spiral. So if you don't have that, um, you don't even need to draw anything. You can just pick up a book or a piece of paper, newspaper, whatever you have laying around, and just even with the words on it, you can just trace your finger around it. And the idea is to just be mindful while you're tracing your finger. It's sort of an act of mindful movement. So you're being mindful about how you're moving your body. And we'll just do that for a little while, and I'll invite the bell when we're all done with that. And it's not about rushing to get to the end of the spiral or anything like that. It's just moving for the sake of moving. It is a means to its own end. So we'll talk about our book, Anger, and then we'll have one last meditation sit. Chapter 5, like I mentioned before, is about compassionate communication, which is very much about related to the poems that I shared earlier. Um, Now more than ever in this current world situation that we're facing, it's very important to speak to one another with kindness. And in a time of social distancing, we really are not able to physically connect, go and see our friends at a restaurant, or um, go to a coffee shop and spend time with them. We have a lot of meaningful connection that's happening on the telephone and on platforms such as Facebook, like this, Zoom conferencing. Um, so at this time, it's very important that we're able to manage strong emotions when we're talking to people, because there's a lot going on. And so that's what this chapter really goes into, talking about managing strong emotions, and one of which is anger. But Thich Nhat Hanh really just uses this book, Anger, to just talk about a lot of very strong emotions and like how to handle those strong emotions. Um, he starts talking about chapter 5, he starts talking about how a parent and a child could be living in the same house together, but they don't um, talk. They don't relate to each other. They can be very distant, and that can make the parent and the child suffer. Um, and if they were able to communicate in a mindful way, in a compassionate way, they may be able to realize that they have a lot in common, and that they don't have to suffer. So it's really important to recognize the positive elements that's there, um, so that we don't just focus on the negative elements and that the negative elements don't dominate us. Um, I kind of wanted to read the whole chapter tonight because there's so many wonderful things to talk about in this chapter that it was really hard for me to pick out little nuggets. Um, but I really need to just read this portion called The Sunshine Behind the Clouds because it is a good one. Um, so, the sunshine behind the clouds. When it is raining, we think that there is no sunshine. But if we fly high in an airplane and go through the clouds, we rediscover the sunshine again. We see that the sunshine is always there. In a time of anger or despair, our love is still there also. Our capacity to communicate, to forgive, and to be compassionate is still there. You have to believe this. We are more than our anger. We are more than our suffering. We must recognize that we do have within us the capacity to love, to understand, to be compassionate. And if you know this, then when it rains, you won't be desperate. You know that the rain is there, but the sunshine is still there somewhere. Soon the rain will stop and the sun will shine again. Have hope. If you can remind yourself that the positive elements are still present within you and the other person, you will know that it is possible to break through so that the best things in both of you can come up and manifest again. This practice will help you touch the sunshine. Deep down, you must know that you are capable of being peace. That is just so wonderful. And I love how his teachings are so simple. Um, Communicating is a practice. Goodwill is not good enough. You have to learn how to do it. Maybe you have lost your capacity to listen. Maybe the other person has spoken so often with bitterness, always condemning and blaming, that you have had enough and you cannot listen anymore. You begin to try to avoid him or her, and you don't have the capacity to listen to that person anymore. The only solution is to train yourself to be able to communicate again. Deep listening is the way. We know that many people suffer, feeling that no one is able to understand them or their situation. Everyone is too busy and no one seems to have the capacity to listen, but all of us need someone who can listen to us. While sitting and listening to their clients, psychotherapists' seeds of suffering in him or her may be watered. That is why, when you are trained to be a therapist, you must learn the art of deep listening. He also says that deep listening, compassionate listening, is not listening with the purpose of analyzing or even uncovering what has happened in the past. You listen, first of all, in order to give the other person relief and a chance to speak out and to feel that someone finally understands them. And he says, as long as we can do this, we may be able to listen to a half an hour to 45 minutes to someone, just to give them the chance to speak out and suffer less. And this should be our only purpose. He does say that sometimes our own anger, irritation, and suffering could be touched or kicked up when the other person is speaking. And he said, if you keep compassion alive while you're listening, then these things cannot arise. inside of you. Compassion alone can protect you from becoming irritated, angry, or full of despair. You should not act as a great being while listening, because you know the other person suffers so much and that you think that they need you to step in and rescue them. But you have to be equipped with something to do the job. So he draws the comparison of a fireman. So when fireman comes to put out your fire, or woman, firewoman too, they have to have the right equipment. They have to have ladders and water and particular clothing. So when you listen deeply to somebody who suffers, you step into a zone of fire yourself. And that there is a fire of suffering, of anger that's burning sometimes. So if you're not well equipped, you cannot help, and you might become a victim of the fire. And this is why you need equipment. And he says your equipment here is compassion, and mindful breathing is something that you can use as your equipment. If compassion is kept alive inside of you through the practice of mindful breathing, you are protected. You may be capable of sitting there and listening for 1 hour without suffering. Your compassion will nourish you, knowing that you are helping the other person to suffer less. You will be the best kind of therapist. The last piece that I wanted to share is nourishing ourselves. Touching suffering can help us nourish our compassion and be able to recognize happiness when it's there. If we are not in contact with pain, we cannot know what real happiness is. So touching suffering is our practice. But each one of us has limits, and we cannot do more than we can do. This is why we have to take good care of ourselves. If you listen to too much of the suffering or the anger of other people, you will be affected. You will be in touch with only suffering, and you won't have the opportunity to be in touch with the other positive elements. This will destroy your balance. Therefore, in your daily life, you have to practice so that you can be in touch with elements that do not constantly express suffering. The sky, the birds, the trees, the flowers, children, whatever is refreshing, healing, and nourishing in us and around us. Sometimes when you get lost in your suffering, in your worries, it is possible to let your friends rescue you. They may say, "Look how beautiful the sky is this morning. It is foggy, but it's really beautiful. Paradise is right here. Why don't you come back to the present and witness this beauty?" You are with the community, with brothers and sisters who are capable of being happy. So the community rescues you and helps you to be in touch again with the positive elements of life. This is the practice of nourishment, and it is very important. So I just wanted to read that last part because it's very relative to the poem that I read earlier about good news. And in this time, we can really get lost in all of the news that is coming to us, and maybe even get saturated with it. So it's important to seek out the good news, right? So finally, we're going to end with our final sit. Excuse me. We'll have a 10-minute sit, and then we'll end with the sound of the bell. So just get into a comfortable position. And I'll invite the bell. And this meditation will be silent right away instead of guided at first, okay? Small bell for stretching and massage. So I finished 5 minutes earlier than I said I would because we, of course, have to end with songs. Um, Anybody that has been coming to the meditation since August, because that's when we started practicing at the library, since August 2019, we sing at the end to water the seeds of joy. So singing meditation, like chanting, um, like when chanting, when we sing, it's very difficult to think of anything else. It helps focus the mind on very wholesome lyrics in the present moment, which nourishes us. The lyrics are chosen wisely as tools to help us to wake up more in the here and now. Also, if we're lucky, the songs get stuck in our heads so that we can remind ourselves to practice more often in the future. Many of these songs are written and sung by Plum Village practitioners. Plum Village is just the practice monasteries that Thich Nhat Hanh has begun. Some are older and adopted from other spiritual traditions. In either case, we use these songs as a fun way to practice mindfulness. So let's see. There's 22 songs on this list. So what song should we sing? How about, well, you don't have the song sheet, but these songs are so easy, you could just rewind after I kind of give you a prompt and you can sing them with me. So this is, you know this song, it's by Louis Armstrong. It's called What a Wonderful World. You know this one, right? I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies laugh. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yay! All right, the last song. Let's see. This one's a good one. The mind is a clear blue sky. So it goes, I'll clap too. So it goes, the mind is a clear blue sky. The mind is a clear blue sky. Thoughts come, thoughts go. The mind is a clear blue sky. That's how it goes. So you want to sing it with me? All right, let's do it. The mind is a clear blue sky. The mind is a clear blue sky. Thoughts come, thoughts go. The mind is a clear blue sky. Let's do feelings now, okay? The mind is a clear blue sky. The mind is a clear blue sky. Feelings come, feelings go. The mind is a clear blue sky. What's the last one? Worries. Yes. All right. The mind is a clear blue sky. The mind is a clear blue sky. Worries come, worries go. The mind is a clear blue sky. Yay! Well, thank you for your practice. Jenny bowing in and bowing out. Stay tuned next for Lindsay coming on at 7 o'clock for story time. Thank you again for your practice. Maybe we'll see you again next week.